Hi guys, good morning.
Good morning.
Online people,
Good morning,
is
sir.
my very good morning. Is my voice audible clearly?
Yes.
Yes. Fine. Guys, in the last session, we discussed about Spring WebMVC topics we revised, and we also discussed about session management in the web application. What is the purpose of a session? How to create a session in the Spring WebMVC application? How to store the data in the session? How to get the data from the session? And how to remove the session also we discussed in the last session. So if it is monolithic application, session will be available in the Java side. If it is microservice application, session will be available at the UI side. Then I have given one requirement to develop by using session concept. So basically we need to develop one phone book application with the registration, login, add your contact, your friend contact, your parents contact you can add, and you can see the contacts which you have added and login. So this phone book application can be used by multiple users. I can save my contacts, you can save your contacts. So when I log in, it should display my contact data. When you log in, it should display your contact data. So that is one requirement I have given. How many of you completed that? Okay. Issues are there, okay? Today, okay. Online students, anyone completed that? Vishal completed that? Yes?
I have tried, sir, but unable to do it.
Okay. So you guys need to complete this requirement. You need to take time. Today also you need to work on this requirement. You have to complete this by today. Okay. Today we are going to learn one concept in the Spring Web, which is called actuator. Spring Boot actuators concept is available, which is very important topic for the interviews. What is actuator and why we need to go for actuators in the Spring Boot? So for example, we are developing our Spring Boot application. Okay, this is our Spring Boot application. This is Spring Boot application. We are going to deploy inside a server, guys. In the real time, our application will be deployed inside one server. When application is deployed in the server, that doesn't mean that our work is complete. When the application is deployed in the server in real time, we need to monitor that application. We need to monitor that application and we need to manage that application also. Application monitoring and application management is also our responsibility. Once your coding is completed, you will deploy that application inside a server. After the deployment is completed, we need to monitor and we need to manage our application. So how do we monitor this one? So we need to check what is the health of the application. What is the health of the application? So if application health is good, then customers can access our application. If application health is bad, people cannot access our application. So we need to monitor the health of the application. And we need to check what are the beans loaded by our application. So many classes will be available in the project. So out of all these classes, how many classes loaded by our IOC container? What are the beans loaded by our application? And what are the URL mappings available in our application? What are the URL patterns available in our application? And how many threads are running in our application? How many threads are running in our application? And how many objects are created in our application? So that is thread dump of the application, heap dump of the application also we need to understand. So what is health of the application? What are the beans loaded? What are the URL patterns available? How many threads are running in our application? How many objects are created in the JVM for our application? All these things we should be able to monitor in the project. All these things we should be able to monitor in the project. So in order to monitor our application information, we are going to use one concept called actuators concept. So there is a concept available in the Spring Boot. That concept name is actuators concept. What is the purpose of this actuators concept in the Spring Boot? Actuators concept is used to monitor and manage our Spring Boot application. Application is running in the server. That is fine. But what is health of the application? How many classes loaded by our application? What are the URL patterns available in the application? What is thread dump of the application? What is heap dump of the application? So we need to get all this information of our application. So to get all this information of the application, we are going to use a concept called actuators concept in the Spring. Okay. So what is the purpose of actuators? Actuators are used to monitor. Actuators are used to monitor and manage our Spring Boot applications. Actuators are used to monitor and manage our Spring Boot applications. By using actuators, we can get below details of our application. Okay.
Sir, your
Using
voice is not
actuators,
clearly audible.
by using actuators, we can get below details of our application. What details we can get, guys? We can get health of the application, and we can get beans loaded by our application, and we can get URL mappings of our application. Okay, we can get thread details of our application, which is basically thread dump, and we can get heap details of our application by using heap dump. So these features provided by the actuators are called as production ready features. So whenever our application is deployed in the production, what is the meaning of the production? Live environment. Any project that you are accessing, that project is a production project. Now, if you go to gmail.com, we are accessing Gmail. That means Gmail is running in the production. You are accessing Ashok IT website. That means it is in the production. Any project that you can access, that is called production project. So when we deploy our application to the production, we need to monitor that application, guys. We need to monitor that application. So that's where actuators concept is used in order to monitor and manage our Spring Boot applications. So it is damn sure questions in the interview. What is the purpose of actuators in the Spring Boot? Actuators are used to monitor and manage our Spring Boot application. And what we can do by using actuators? By using actuators, we can get the details of our application. What details we can get of our application? Health of the application, beans loaded by the application, URL mappings available, and thread dump of our application, heap dump of our application we can get. Now, to work with the actuators, in Spring Boot, we need to add actuator starter. We need to add form starter. Okay. Now, if you go to the official website of Spring, they will tell you the information about the actuator. Spring Boot actuators concept. Now, so go here, Spring Boot actuator official documentation. What is the title they are keeping? Production ready features. When your application deployed in the production, in order to manage that application, we are going to use actuators concept, right? Production ready features, enabling production ready features. So what is the meaning of enabling production ready features? See this one. Spring Boot actuator module provides all the Spring Boot production ready feature. The recommended way to enable this feature is to add a dependency on the Spring Boot starter actuator. So if you want to work with the actuators in the Spring Boot, then you need to add Spring Boot starter actuator dependency. How we added web starter, JPA starter, mail starter. Similarly, we need to add actuator starter in the pom.xml. Okay, what is the definition of actuator? Actuator means controlling. Read this one. Actuator is a manufacturing term that refers to a mechanical device for moving or controlling something. Actuators can generate large amount of motion from a small change. So this is official definition of the actuator. But in the Spring Boot, why we are using this actuator? To monitor and to manage our Spring Boot application. What is health of our application? How many classes loaded by our application? What are the URL patterns available in the application? What is the thread dump of the application? Heap dump of the application? All this information we can get by using actuator. But that actuator is not enabled by default. So if you want to work with the actuator, you need to add one dependency in the pom.xml. Okay. So this is the dependency we need to add. Go to this dependency, take this one, or else let me create a new project. File, new, Spring Starter project we need to create. Right. So give some name for this project. Give some name for the project. Spring Boot actuator application. Click on next. Web starter I am taking. Dev tools I am taking. No Timeleaf. Timeleaf I am not taking. I don't want any UI now. So web starter, dev tools I am taking. And what is the starter we need to select, guys? Actuator. Spring Boot actuator. What is this? Support endpoints to monitor, manage your application such as health, metrics, sessions, etc. Your application can be monitored. Your application can be managed when you go for actuator dependency. I'm adding 3 dependencies in the project. Dev tools dependency, actuator dependency, web dependency I'm adding now. Go to next, click on finish. So with this, my project is started. Project creation started. Go to pom.xml of our project. Yes, this is our project pom.xml. Open this pom.xml. Yes. What is the starter we added? Spring Boot starter actuator we have added. Spring Boot starter web is available. We know what is the purpose of a web starter. Web starter is used to develop a web application. What is the purpose of dev tools? To restart the server. Test is available to implement unit testing of the application. And one new dependency we added, which is actuator dependency. What is the purpose of this actuator dependency? Monitor and manage our application. So that's it. So once you go here, there is no class. I did not create any class. Just I created one Spring Boot application. By default, we are getting start class. By default, we got the start class. Let me go and run this application. Run as a boot application. In this application, actuator is available. In this application, actuator is available. All right. Yes. Application started with the port number 8080. Can you read this one? Can you read the statement now? Exposing one endpoint beneath the base path / actuate. So that means for our project, actuator got enabled. For our project, actuator is enabled because dependency we added. Now go to browser, access actuator of our project. Localhost : 8080 / actuator. 8080/actuator. So when I hit this URL, with /actuator, it is telling me what information is available about our application. Currently, what information is available? Health is available. This is the URL to access health of our application. Now, take this URL, go here, click on /health, actuator/health. What is the output I'm getting? Status up. That means our application is up and running. The health of the application is good. People can access our application. So like this, in order to monitor and manage our application, we are going to use actuators concept. So can you guys tell me what is the purpose of actuators in the Spring Boot? What is the purpose of actuators in the Spring Boot? Actuators are used to monitor and manage our Spring Boot applications. By using these actuators, we can get health of the application, we can get beans of the application, we can get URL mappings of the application, we can get thread dump of the application, we can get heap dump of the application. So to work with the actuators in the Spring Boot, we need to add form starter. Unless students, you disconnected. Online students, is my voice audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
See my screen also?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So whenever we go for the actuators concept, it is used to monitor and manage our Spring Boot application. So what is the dependency that we are using to work with the actuator? Go to form.xml. At the time of creating Spring Boot application only, you can add this dependency. Okay. Then run the application after adding the dependency. After adding above dependency, run the application and check actuator endpoints. Okay. The URL to check the actuator endpoint is URL is http://localhost: your port number /actuator. So that is the URL pattern. So when you access that URL pattern, it will tell you what features are available for your application. So by default, what features are available for our application? Only health feature is available. What about beans? What about thread? What about heap? Those are available or not available? When you add actuator dependency, by default, health is available for your application. You can access only health endpoint. This is called one endpoint, guys. So endpoint is nothing but a URL. Endpoint is nothing but a URL. So I created boot application. I added actuator. When I run the application and access this URL, it will show me what endpoints are available for our application. Currently, what endpoints are available? Only health endpoint is available. Now you observe. So when I run my application, in the console, it will show the message clearly how many endpoints are enabled. Run as boot application, go to console. Now see the console message clearly. How many endpoints are exposed now? Exposing one endpoint with the actuator. What is that one endpoint it is exposed? What is that one endpoint it exposed? Health. What is that? Health. So whenever you add actuator dependency, by default, it is exposing only one endpoint, that is a health endpoint. Exposing one endpoint, that is a health endpoint. Then what about remaining endpoints we need for our application? What about the remaining? Let's go to this one. Next, endpoints, the documentation. Official documentation now, what they are telling about this? Can you read that statement? Actuator endpoint lets you monitor and interact with your application. Spring Boot provides several built-in endpoints let you add your own. For example, health endpoint provides basic application health information. Health endpoint is providing basic application health information. Okay, you can enable or disable each individual endpoint by using HTTP or JMX. Okay, scroll down. So these are the endpoints. Audit events available. Beans is one endpoint. What is the purpose of a beans endpoint? Can you read this one? What is the meaning of a beans endpoint? Displays a complete list of all the Spring Beans available in your application. What is this one? Config properties endpoint available. What it will do? Displays a list of configuration properties. What is this ENV? Environment details. What is this health? Shows application health. Info, application information. Logger, loggers of our application. Metrics, metrics of the application. Mappings, URL patterns of our application. Okay, then shutdown. What is the meaning of shutdown? You can stop your application by sending a request. Application is running. I want to stop my application. By sending one request, you can stop the application also. For that, there is an endpoint called shutdown. Okay, what is this one? Startup. What is this? Performs a thread. Like this, there are several actuator endpoints are available. These are predefined. But when I create and run my application, am I getting those endpoints or I am not getting those endpoints? I'm not getting those endpoints. How many endpoints I'm getting now? Only one. So when you add actuator, it is used to monitor and manage our application. By default, it is giving you only one endpoint. What is that one endpoint it is giving by default? Health. By default, it is giving health. How to see how many endpoints are enabled for our application? By using this URL, you can see how many endpoints are exposed or enabled for our application. Read this point. Spring Boot actuators concept. What is the purpose of actuators in the Spring Boot? Can someone read out? Yes, actuators are used to monitor and manage our boot application. So what kind of features we can get with the actuator? You can know health of your application. You can understand what bean classes loaded by your application. You can understand what are the URL patterns available in your application, thread dump of your application, heap dump of your application. How to add actuators to our project? How to add the actuator to our project? By using one starter actuator. If you add a form starter, then actuator will be available for your application. So after adding this form starter, we need to access this URL. What is this URL? What is the purpose of this URL? What is the purpose of this URL? How many endpoints are enabled? Okay. So the above URL will display when we send request. It will display the actuator endpoints enabled for our application. By default, only which endpoint is enabled? You got my point? Read that statement. When we send the request to above URL, it will display the actuator endpoints enabled for our application. By default, only health endpoint is enabled. Then, how to enable remaining endpoints also, like beans, mappings, environment, loggers, shutdown, startup. There are several other endpoints available. How can we enable the remaining endpoints? Okay. To enable the remaining endpoints in the actuator, so they will give some properties, guys. What is this? This is a property. Management dot endpoints dot web dot exposure dot include. So we will take this property include and keep it in our properties file. Currently, how many endpoint by default? Only one. What is that only one? Health endpoint. Now go to our properties file in the project. Then let me add management dot endpoints dot web dot exposure dot include is equal to star. I've given include is equal to star. What is the meaning of star? All. I want to enable all the actuator endpoints.
Sir, what we should say endpoint means, please?
URL.
Ah, thank you.
Run as boot application. Now see the console. After adding that statement in the properties file, earlier we have only one. Now we are getting 14 endpoints. How to see what are those 14? Slash actuate. If you use a slash actuator, it will give you what all the 14 endpoints are enabled. Then for every endpoint, URL will be available. That URL you can access that endpoint. Now go here. Earlier it displayed only one, which is a health. Now refresh. Now we are getting so many endpoints here. Beans available, caches, health, info, conditions, config props, env, loggers, heap dump, thread dump, metrics available, scheduled tasks available like this. So many endpoints are enabled for our application now. So what is the property I have added to enable all the endpoints? What is the property? Management dot endpoints dot web dot exposure dot include. So to enable all the endpoints, all the actuator endpoints, endpoint means URL, guys. Endpoint means one URL. To enable all endpoint, to enable actuator all endpoints, we will configure below property in application dot properties file. To enable actuator all endpoints, we will configure below property in the properties file. Management dot endpoints dot web dot exposure dot include is equal to star. What is the meaning of star? Everything will be exposed. Suppose we want to enable only health comma info. Then what will happen now? I'm including only two. Only two endpoints will be enabled for our application. Go to console. Run this project. What happened now? So you can configure which endpoints you want to enable for your application. So if you give star, then it will enable all the endpoints. I want to enable only health and info, health comma info. Then what will happen? Only two endpoints will be enabled. Okay, if I give star, all the endpoints will be enabled. Then next one, there is another property, exclude property is available. Exclude is equal to beans. What is the meaning of that? To enable and disable actuator endpoints, we will configure below properties in properties file. Include means they will be added. Exclude means they will be removed. Like this, you can include the endpoint, you can exclude the endpoint also. Are you clear with my point? Management dot endpoints dot web dot exposure dot include is equal to star. Then management dot endpoints dot web dot exposure dot exclude is equal to beans. Enable all except beans. Enable all except beans. I want all. I want to exclude beans. Now see here. When you configure this property, what will happen? 13 will come, right? Generally 14. But I am excluding 1. Beans I am excluding. So the remaining 13 endpoints we are going to get. Is this clear? Right. Let me show the console. Yeah. How many endpoints are coming now? 13 endpoints are coming. Go to browser, check it. So earlier, beans endpoint is available, but now beans endpoint will not be available. Earlier, beans is available. Beans is available. Now refresh. Beans is available or beans is not available? Because it is disabled. We excluded beans from the actuator. Now go to environment. This is env1 endpoint. This is the URL to access the environment information. Copy this URL and access. So it is providing all the environment related information of our application. Okay. If you go for /mappings, what are the URL patterns available in the application? It will display. This is a JSON data. This is a JSON data. So health of the application also we are able to access. /actuator/health. Health is coming as upcome. /actuator/beans. Why am I getting error for the beans? We are excluding the beans end. What is the purpose of a beans endpoint? It will tell you what all the beans are loaded by our application. What are the beans loaded by our application? We can understand by using beans endpoint. Is this clear? Right. What is actuator? Actuators are used to monitor and manage our Spring Boot application. So they are used to get the production ready features of the application. Production ready features nothing but monitoring, managing our application is called production ready features. To get the production ready features, we will go for actuators concept, right? So there are several endpoints available. Can you tell me some actuator endpoint names, guys? Health available, beans available, URL mappings available, thread dump, heap dump, env is available, metrics is available, env available, metrics available, loggers available, shutdown is available. So like this, there are several actuator endpoints are available. There are several actuator endpoints are available. So to work with these endpoints, to work with the actuator, we need to add this dependency in the pom.xml. So when you add it, by default, it will provide one endpoint which is called health only. How to access that health endpoint? URL http://localhost:8080/actuator/. Actuator is common. If you use only actuator, it will display all the endpoints available. Actuator/health, it will display health of your application. But how to enable other endpoints also? This is the property. Management.endpoints.web.exposure.include is equal to star. Exclude is equal to beans. What is the meaning of exclude is equal to beans? The meaning of above configuration. What is the meaning of above configuration? Come on. The meaning of above configuration is expose all endpoints except beans. Beans we are excluding. Okay. Except beans, all the endpoints will be exposed for our application. Now, okay. Exposing means we can access. Like we can access those endpoints. By default, only health will be available. So if you want the remaining endpoints, then you need to expose them by using this property. Include is equal to star. Everything will be exposed. Exclude is equal to beans. Beans will be disabled. Suppose if I configure beans comma matrix, then what will happen? Out of 14, 12 will be exposed, 2 will be disabled. Beans and matrix will be disabled, remaining will be enabled for our application. Yes. Able to understand what is the actuator in the Spring Boot and why we need to go for actuators, which is used to monitor and manage our application. Loggers of the application, beans of the application, mappings of the application, thread down, heap down. So if you go here, /beans /thread dump. When you hit the thread dump, it is going to provide you the information related to threads. So what are the threads that are running in our application? All the threads information we can access in the JSON format. Similarly, there is an endpoint called heap dump is available. When you go for heap dump, application heap data will be downloaded. How many objects are running, how much memory they are using, and heap dump also will be downloaded. Now see here, thread dump. When you use a thread dump, it will provide the threads information in the JSON format. Now I am going for heap dump. Heap dump. When I go for heap dump, you can see heap dump is downloaded. So heap analyzer tools will be available. You need to check the heap dump and you need to use heap analyzer to analyze your heap memory. How much memory is available? How many objects are created? How many objects are unused? How many objects are used? How many objects are unused? How much memory? Total memory, free memory, used memory. All that information will be available in the heap dump file. The file we need to analyze by using some third-party tools. Heap analyzer tools will be available to analyze heap memory of our application. And when you go for mappings, what is the meaning of a mappings, guys? What is the meaning of a mappings? Mapping is one endpoint. Why we need to use mappings endpoint? To know the URL patterns available in the application. I want to know URL patterns available in the application. Get mapping URL, post mapping URLs you are going to write. So to understand the URL patterns available in the application, we can go for mappings endpoint. Endpoint means what? What is the meaning of endpoint? URL. Endpoint means URL. And the next one, in our application, currently, is there any controller is available, guys? In our project, any controller is available or controller is not available? So in the web application, we need to create the controllers. But in this application, only start class is available. There is no controller. Can we create one controller? Yes. What is the meaning of controller? What is the meaning of controller?
A class that maps to a URL.
Request, right? And how to represent a class as a controller? Come on.
Annotation controllers.
At the rate controller. Okay. Now I'm going to write one method, public string, get a welcome message. Earlier, what we have written, guys? Index. Then take a URL pattern, get mapping / welcome. Get mapping / welcome. What is the meaning of this? Tell me. What is the meaning of this method? Sorry.
It will return the index.
Load the index page.
It will return the index page. It will return the index page. If you have the index page, that is okay, right? Let me create the index page. where the time leaf is required to create the index page. But in my project, UI is not there. My project is pure backend application. There is no UI. So when you send a request to the welcome, directly I want to send you a message, welcome to Ashoka. You got my point? So earlier, we have created a methods by using time leaf. Time leaf is our view page. Okay. But now, we don't want to develop any view pages. I don't want to develop any UI. You send a request, I will give the response directly. It will not give you any UI page. Because in the microservices, UI will not be available in the Java. UI is available in the Angular or UI is available in the React. So now, I don't have any UI page. So earlier, we used to return index. Okay, index is our HTML page. Index is our HTML page. Whenever you send a request, index page will be loaded. But now, I don't want to return index. I want to return message direct. I want to return message direct. Now, observe what will happen. Run our application. I'm running my project. 13 endpoints are enabled for the actuator clearance. Now go to the browser, localhost colon 8080/welcome. When I go for /welcome, what it is saying, guys? So whatever that I am returning from my method, dispatcher servlet is thinking this is a view name. Whatever I am returning, what they will think, guys, by default, it is a HTML file. But it is a HTML file, but it is a direct message. Okay. Suppose if I write a method like this, that is okay. What is the difference between first method and second method? First method is returning the index page.
Okay.
What about the second method?
Message. That message.
But for the dispatcher servlet, both methods are same. First method returning string as a return type. Second method also returning string as a return type. When we are returning string, what dispatcher servlet will think? When we are returning
Index page
string,
return.
what it will think?
Index page return.
Whenever controller method return type is a string, what is dispatcher servlet thinks is, dispatcher servlet will think that you are returning a view page thing. Whenever you return a string from your method, when you return a string from your method, dispatcher servlet will think that this is a HTML file. This is also a HTML file. But as a programmer, I know this is HTML file name, but this is not HTML file name. This is a direct response. How to send a direct response from the controller? If you want to send direct response from the controller, you need to use one annotation called @response body. What is the annotation, guys? What is the annotation I'm using now? @response body. So when you write @response body, that means that the method is not dealing with the UI. That the method will take a request, that the method will give the direct response to the client. There is no UI page here. Controller plus response body equal to REST controller. The REST APIs, microservices we are going to develop. When we are going to develop the microservices, every method will be available like this only. There is no UI. If you are developing a monolithic application, then only UI will come. When you go for microservices, UI pages will not be available. Direct response I will give from the controller method. There is no view resolver. There is no view component. Controller will get the request. Controller will give the direct response. There is no model and view concept. Controller will take your request. Controller will give the direct response. How dispatcher will understand which method is giving the direct response without view page? For that method, we need to write one annotation called @response body. @response body. Now, if I write @response body here, what will happen? What response I will get from the first method? Index is the output. If I remove the response body, what they will think? Index HTML. If I add a response body, what they will think? Output is index. If I remove it, index page is the output. Are you clear? Now tell me, what is the purpose of response body annotation?
To display the content in the console.
Not to display content in the console.
To return.
Oh.
To return the content direct. Okay. So if you are taking string, that means by default, controller method string means it is a view page only. It's a view page. But my method is not dealing with the view pages. My method will return direct response to the client. Then we need to use the annotation called @response body. In the interview, they will ask a question. Can you return direct response from the controller method? No UI. Yes. By using response body annotation. If you use response body annotation at the class level, instead of a method level, if I use at the class level, what will happen? All methods will return direct response. All methods will return direct response. There is no UI. There is no UI page now. Everything is a direct response. Now, send a request without any URL pattern. What output I am getting? Index. Method is returning index. Index page or index message. Direct message. Because it is having @response body. But one method should return index page only. Another method should return direct response. Then don't add at the class level. Add at the method level. Add at the method level. So it is applicable for particular method. If you add at the class level, applicable for all the methods available in that class. Are you able to follow me? Yes. So in the future, from next Monday, everything is controller plus response body only. Next 1 month of course, we are going to work on response body because we are going to develop microservices. Microservices means no UI. Everything is direct response. You take the request, you give the response. There is no UI. UI will be available in the another application. Are you clear with my point? So what is the difference between controller and controller with response body? Controller with response body. When you take only controller, dispatcher will think our method is written a view page. Controller plus response body means method is returning a direct response. There is no UI. There is no UI. Method is going to return direct response from our application. Are you able to follow this? And so in the real time, people will write URL patterns at the method level as well as at the class level also. Because in my project, multiple controllers can be available. Every controller method should have unique URL pattern. So if you write two methods with the same URL pattern, ambiguity problem. To resolve the ambiguity problem, we will write the annotation at the class level also. Request mapping, we will specify at the class level. Request mapping, we will specify at the class level. We'll give this one as /API. I'm giving as /API. What is the meaning of /API? What is the meaning of /API now?
It's a file.
All the endpoints of that controller will.
Yes. Now, if you want to access welcome, what is the URL? Localhost colon 8080/API/welcome. Class level, method level. Always recommended to give the URL pattern, class level plus method level. Then ambiguities will not come. User controller / user, product controller / product. So when you are creating multiple controllers in the application, it is always recommended to give URL pattern at the class level as well as at the method level also. Are you clear? Right. @response body. So what is the meaning of @response body? Yes. @response body we can use @response body annotation is used to specify that controller method is returning direct response to client without any view page. Right? So what is the meaning of @response body annotation? @response body annotation is used to specify that controller method is returning direct response to the client without any view page. This annotation we can use at method level, at class level, and at a method level. If we use at class level, then what will happen? If we use at class level, then what will happen? If we use @response body at a class level, then it is applicable for all the methods of that class. So in that class, all the methods are going to return direct response. There is no UI. And remember this concept, guys. When you are using the combination @controller plus @response body is equal to which annotation, guys? @rest controller. So no UI, direct response. From the next Monday, every project we are going to develop is based on the REST controller only. It is based on REST controller only. Is this clear now? What is response body annotation? Response body annotation is used to specify that controller method is returning direct response to the client without any view page. And this response body annotation, we can use at the class level as well as at the method level. If we use the response body at a class level, applicable for all the methods of the class. If you use at a method level, specific to only one method. So what is the conclusion? Controller plus response body, which is equal to REST controller. That means there is no UI, directly response we are going to get from the controller method. Is this clear? Next, we discussed about actuator. What is the meaning of actuator? They are used to monitor and manage our boot application. So by using actuator, we can get health of the application, means of the application, URL mappings, thread dump, heap dump, env, metrics, loggers, shutdown, etc. Okay, so to work with the actuators, we need to add one dependency called starter actuator dependency. So after adding, you can hit this URL to know what actuators are available for your application. Health we can access. How to enable, disable, include, exclude is available. Include and exclude is available. So the meaning of above configuration is expose all endpoints except these endpoints. What is the meaning of endpoint, guys? Endpoint means one. What is the response body? What is the purpose of response body?
To get the
send a-
direct response without any view.
without any view page, if you want to send direct response to the client, then we will use response body. Where I can use response body? Class level
level, method level.
as well as method level. What will happen if I use at the class level? That is applicable for all the methods available in that class. So instead of writing two annotations, what is one annotation we can write? REST
REST
controller. What is the purpose of REST controller? To develop REST APIs. Why we need to develop REST APIs? For microservices. You got my point? Guys, and I want to check how many of you able to complete the above requirement. I have given one assignment. Given one assignment. One person completed. Offline students, how many completed? No. Errors are there. Errors. But tomorrow you will complete. Today. Today. You don't complete. When you will complete? Tomorrow. Sure. So if you are not able to complete that project, what is the meaning of that? Is there any concept which is new to develop that project? To develop that project, what is required? Spring Boot knowledge is required. WebMVC knowledge is required. Timeleaf is required. Data JPA is required. You know all those concepts. Then why you are not able to develop? Online students, only one person completed. How to exclude multiple? Comma separate. By using comma separate, we can exclude multiple. Online students, I have given actually two assignments, guys. One is phone book application. Second one, forget password. How to implement forget password that I have implemented in our Ashokate website. Same functionality you need to implement in the project. Practical knowledge is very, very important. Currently, you people are focusing on theoretical knowledge. So theoretical knowledge will not help you to get the job. So you should be able to develop the applications on your own. And that too, this is not a big application. Very small. To be frank, if I do this coding, within 30 to 40 minutes, that project will be complete. It will not take more than that. 30 to 40 minutes is sufficient. But you have taken 24 hours of time. But still you are not able to complete it. So what to do? And from next week, you will not get the time. From Monday, new chapter will start, REST APIs. Once we go for the REST API, the completely different. That coding style will be completely different. Without the UI, we need to develop the code. When you go for the REST APIs. So I want all of you to take it seriously and try to complete that requirement by today at least. 24 hours of time is very huge time to develop that small task. That's very small. User registration, user login. Adding the inquiry, display the inquiry. By using session cards. Okay. Next one. Yeah.
Sir, I have one question.
Yes.
So, sir, we have seen like in actuator we have the shutdown endpoint as well, right?
Yes,
And
I'm
if we
coming.
are adding,
I'm
yeah,
coming.
if hello.
Yes.
So if we are adding that actuator in production, and if someone
don't
now
do-
or endpoint,
No. By default, shutdown will not come. If you want to shut down, separately you need to enable the shutdown endpoint.
Okay.
Even if you give include star also, shutdown will not work. If you see /actuator /shutdown will not come.
Okay, sir.
By default, shutdown is disabled.
Okay. But we can enable it.
Yes, we can enable in the properties file. We need to enable, and for shutdown, you cannot send a GET request. You need to send a POST request. If you want to enable shutdown, register shutdown management dot endpoints dot shutdown dot. If you write to true like this, then only shutdown endpoint will be enabled. By default, when you give include is equal to star, shutdown will not come. Why shutdown will not come? People can shut down your application. So that's why by default it will not come. If you want to enable shutdown, then you need to write management dot endpoint dot shutdown dot enabled is equal to true. Then only shutdown endpoint will be enabled. And when the shutdown endpoint is enabled, directly you can't send the request for the shutdown. Shutdown is post request, not a GET request. So you can't send a shutdown request from the browser directly. Go and send shutdown. What it is saying? GET is not supported. Then how to send the shutdown request? You need to go for one tool called Postman. In the next week, we will understand what is Postman. So there is a tool called Postman. Using Postman, we need to send the request, post request to shut down the application.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, suppose if I hosted my website in the server, so anyone can access and see my this actuators things, right?
You can implement securities. They should not be able to access.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, guys, this is my Postman tool. In the Postman, I need to select the post request 8080 slash actuator slash shutdown. Click on send. Now what happened? Shutting down by your application got stopped. So by using Postman, I will send a post request to the shutdown, then my server will be stopped. Earlier my server is running. Now let me start my server and show you once again. Yes, application started. My server is in the running state, red color running. Go to Postman, post, send the request, shutting down by. Now what happened to my server? It got stopped. So by default, shutdown will not come. So if you want to work with the shutdown, then you need to enable that. Management dot endpoint dot shutdown dot enabled is equal to by default shutdown endpoint is disabled. If we want, then we can enable it using below property. Enabled is equal to true. And shutdown endpoint is mapped to post request. Directly from the browser, you can't send it. You need to use a Postman tool in order to send the post request to the shutdown endpoint. Shutdown endpoint is mapped to HTTP post request. Using Postman, we can send HTTP post request below URL. So this is the URL in order to shut down our application. And this request we need to send from Postman, not from the browser. If you send the request from the browser, what will happen, guys? Is it going to accept your request from the browser, or it will not accept from the browser? It will not accept from the browser. Why it is not accept from the browser? From the browser, by default, get request will go. But if you want to send the post request, you need to use a tool called Postman. So in my system, Postman is available. So in the REST API classes, you will understand what is the Postman and how to work with the Postman. So
Sir, if you want-
today agenda, I want everybody to complete this phone book application, guys. I want everyone to complete this phone book application. In the tomorrow session, I will explain about profiles concept in the Spring Boot. In the data JPA, there is a concept called profiles. What is a profile? Why we need to go for profiles? How to work with profiles? We will discuss in the tomorrow session. Okay. So before coming to that session, I want everyone to complete this project. Please take it seriously and try to complete this project. We'll meet in the tomorrow's class.
Sir, project deploy చేయడం చూపిస్తా ఉన్నారు.
Yes, sir. Once all of you complete that, I will show you. I will conduct one weekend workshop.
Okay, sir.
Sir, how to write the custom actuators, sir? Custom actuators if you want
We
to
need to
write.
create our own actuator classes. But generally, we don't do that in the day. I never created my own actuator.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Thank you, guys. So please complete the project before coming to tomorrow's session.